Welcome to Africa Speaks of today. My name is Stephen Malindra, and I do hope that, as usual, you always have a wonderful time. And as Easter is coming around, I'm sure so many of you would want a break from everything that we all try to do. Now, what have I got in today's program? Women's equality in African politics. Can it be achieved? Women's equality in African politics. Can it be achieved? Now, since the 50s and the 60s, when most African countries gained their independence from the West, the role women have played in politics has been below average. Mark those words, below average. But the beginning of the 21st century has seen a dramatic change of events that have put women, as well as men, at a power struggle in politics. Not just African politics, but world politics. So many women are now part of the political arms struggle in movements and are playing leading roles in them. There have been 6 African presidents, that is women presidents, that include Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of Liberia, Joyce Hilda Banda of Malawi, and Samia Suluhu Hassan of Tanzania, who is still president of Tanzania. Now, so can we say now that the gender equality in African politics has been achieved? Can we say that? Right. With me in the studio today to discuss this issue is Fauzia Mossa, an independent women consultant on gender and women equality. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Stephen.
Yeah.
I appreciate coming for this session, and I would like to thank you for giving me this opportunity and to share whatever outcome we're gonna have our discussion to do with particularly with my community.
Yeah.
And I will say Ramadan Kareem to them and greetings to them all and all of the women in Africa.
Yeah. I've seen most of your detailed reports on the roles women have played in African civil societies, but also the suffering and still facing a lot of suffering in society today. There have been changes, obviously. We had 6 presidents in Africa so far, and there are still so many women who are playing big roles. And you have played a big role. I've seen a lot of your reports on the UN and the World Bank that you have written as far as women and men are concerned. Do you think the gender gap in the political side is now in balance? Is the women have gone above the men, or they're approaching the men in a way?
I think women are moving forward positively.
Okay.
But also there is a lot of challenge, and I think this is the easiest time for them to move forward as quickly if they put their mind together.
Okay.
What made it easy now for us is the technology.
Yeah.
Communications and the technology is moving many women forward.
Yeah.
To get access of information they used to lack before.
Yeah.
There is an increase of women's participation in decision makings.
Yeah.
And some are perhaps symbolic ones.
Okay.
But some are active. We want to make them, the symbolic ones, more active.
You want to make them more active rather than being seen as symbols who are seated there, but they are not involved with the decision makings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in development world, some of the programs will require women to head in a position or women to be recruited to participate or like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes they become just like a figurehead, a token to be put it on for a symbol.
Yeah.
And while the decision making is not still under their hands.
I saw the report you gave to the UN with education, cultures, changes of African societies, view women in terms of traditional roles in our societies. One of the reports that you wrote for Somalia on women was very, very effective, and I saw the comment which the UN put on that, which was really, really nice, and I think that's one of the reasons why Somaliland is so keen on wanting you back there to help in the major works that they have. What kind of difficulties did you have in putting this report together? Or if any at all?
The challenges that I had was not really, to me, a challenge, because when you come from a community with the same heritage, same language, same culture,
yeah,
we are all neighbors. We know where is the issues and what we need to address.
Yeah, yeah.
And there is two issues I would like to highlight. Thank you for reminding me my work of Somaliland. I love Somaliland. The people I enjoyed during my time there, and it was one of my best ever time that I had worked in Somalia.
Yeah, yeah.
But when I look at it in terms of women, and why I was brought there was to empower war women to participate in political decision making and to be active. And I wouldn't say I failed or we failed as a Somalilanders.
Why?
But the number of women in terms of statistics, other regions of Somalia were ahead of us.
Oh, okay.
Other regions of Somalia was ahead of us. And now you can see the Somali, the federal government now in the South Somalia.
Yeah.
The quota, they requested for quota, nonetheless they didn't fill the quota, but at least the percentage of women and youth it's close to 33% of parliamentary members.
Yeah.
Far more than what you see in Somaliland.
Okay.
And I would like
was that due to the clan-based kind of ideology where they don't really want women to participate, or was it due to education? What was the main cause of that?
No, Somaliland women are very educated, with many other like Somali women. But I found a little bit for women to be conservative in terms of their religion. And I don't disagree on how they approach. Actually, we tried during an election of local district level authorities.
Yeah.
We found out it was very interesting that women in the cities, in major cities, were perceived very differently. It was not even attainable for them to get a position, while women in the rural areas were able to achieve certain positions at the local level.
Yeah.
So our aim was then for us to gear more towards the peripheries or the bigger towns in order to beef up women's membership in the parliamentary and decision making. And I hope there is an election coming up, as I heard, and I hope that that women continue to be seen there, not as a token, but very active and a good decision making and participatory. Overall, one commonality women have, along with the men, is everybody wants safety. Everybody wants security.
Of course, yeah.
Every mom wants education for their child.
Yeah.
Every mom wants shelter and amenities like sanitations and everything for young girls also.
Yeah.
So basically, as a woman, we want, we have a lot of commonality that we can come together and put forces on it. And improve. However, the pressure from clan lines is taking toll on us. And I see that a lot of prominent women who've been very charitable and renowned for their contribution going to other directions. And becoming political. I would recommend that women look deeply into their heart and see that as a woman, mom, now I'm a grandmother.
Yeah.
As a woman, as a mother, as a grandmother, I want what I want for my children, for my grandchildren.
Yeah.
They are the future. We should focus on that and forgive them. And by the way, Somali women are technically are clanless because they adhere to the clan there.
And can go through that.
Now, but lineage, society.
I saw your report on the World Bank where you wrote that Somalians' different ethnic and cultural groups have had quite distinct histories and recent experiences that influence their worldviews and beliefs, include gender-related practices and ideologies. How is this in context of changing the behavior of the men? Because the World Bank report you gave was centered on mainly the women, but most of these issues, before you went to the men's issue, discussing the main issue, you looked at the changing values of the Somali society, especially those in Somaliland. And the world, this is the report you gave to the World Bank, that quote I gave. How is this ideology, outside influence, affecting the changes within the Somali community? Or within the African community for that matter, because they were looking for the African community.
The thing is that, first of all, the word gender was misunderstood by our community.
Okay.
And they are not at fault. It's the fault of people who were providing for us aid and support for us to improve our life. So the word gender was equated to women.
Okay.
Gender is not only women. Gender is a tool that you look at the society through different orientation, sex, in age, and education, and living conditions. Women in the rural area is not the same. The women in the cities. So what happened was that the most of the program international organizations were geared toward women. Their aim was good because their approach was to bring up the participation of women in decision making. But were we were absent? No, we were never absent. We had a long history of women being part of our society and being a backbone, whatever men did, whether we are in peace or in war. So nothing that existed before was built on to improve it. Rather was then an imported and forced kind of not forced but mentally manipulated. So if you now hear the word gender from our men, they will just be angry and not understand.
Why be angry? Why be angry?
Because they equate women, and then my country being an Islamic country and people, and there is in religious norms that doesn't make men and women equal. And actually, we were told men to be responsible for women. But that is in terms of responsibility of taking care of, but it's not responsibility of education, and employment, health, and everything else. We are equal. And that's what
when it comes to
that's where we come as a human being. Your needs as a man is also my needs.
Of course.
For you to eat is my need.
Of course.
For my children to eat is my need. So we have a camaraderie. We were not made of an alien from our community. So in 2015 we said that let's do And we focused it a lot on women, and
Right.
all the program in Somalia at that
Yeah,
time were
yeah,
women.
yeah.
And I said, we said we need to focus on men and youth. And it was mind-boggling what we find out
Okay.
about the challenge they face,
Yeah.
about how they look, the society, how they look women, you know, how they, because women are promoted, some of them retreated back
Yeah.
to be more idle, because women are active working, women are doing this, women can get an NGO from something, women can do this.
Yeah, yeah.
So our men start lacking behind.
Lacking behind, yeah.
For that reason. And I didn't want that to happen to our youth and our men.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's something which has been puzzling me, and I've discussed this at some point with some politicians that I've had here on a number of occasions. There is no funding usually put there for society. I mean, when they fund projects like this you question why the World Bank, why the UN funds a report like most of the report that you want, which are gender based, and then is there an agenda behind it to foresee the changes within the gender, or is it? I mean, if you are funding, you are giving help in terms of your people have no food, for example, you send money for the food. Why fund the gender-based kind of system? Is it, what does the World Bank need with finding out whether men are equal to men are equal to women in Africa, or African women are, why fund these gender-based kind of projects?
I will say it's all political. And it's the dominations that West want.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example.
Okay.
In Somalia, we are in a stage of peace building in every region, Somaliland, Puntland, South Somalia, or federal, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
We are in peace building. It's the elders who elect the officials who govern us.
Okay.
It's the elders who elect the head of the positions of government institutions that provide service for us.
Yeah.
And during that period of time where UN is supporting, or all the world is supporting to keep peace in Somalia,
Yeah.
at the same time they bring in a gender program.
Yeah.
So gender program doesn't sit in peace building.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Because it's just the clashes, and that's
Yeah.
one of our report my colleague and I highlighted it. It's
Is
very
it-
important.
Is it to affect the structure of what they're trying to fund? Say, if they discover, for example, the EU has got a lot of that, and you worked on those projects. What is the final outcome once they have discovered?
The outcome is just for them to say, okay, because we adopted laws.
Yeah.
Every like for example, World Bank has a logo: "Do not do harm."
Okay.
Okay. So European community adopted gender laws. Wherever their aid going in, it has to be specifically looked into through the gender aspect of it.
Okay.
But knowingly, you cannot do that. You cannot do that in terms of what you are also supporting on your other left hand.
Yeah.
For stability in that country.
Yeah.
You cannot implement such a program. But at the same time, it brings a lot of awareness for our women.
Okay.
There's some positive of it. So that's why as I said it earlier, some women are following the footprints of a man, how they become a politician, or how they become successful.
Yeah.
And then they following that footstep and becoming just like that man without looking into the agenda of where we as a woman and youth and children and elderly people stand in the community.
Okay.
So that's why I was saying, we don't want tokens. We want to be very active one that are grassroots based in inputs coming out. It has to be our initiative.
Have you ever found a structure in Africa which is funded by the Africans for, not necessarily for gender, but for finding out issues related to most of, say for example, the youth in Africa, the women in Africa, the youth in Africa, meaning both the girls and boys, structure which are funded basically by African governments. Now, the Somali government, the Zambia, or any of these other African countries, formally for them to ensure that the gender structure of how much we find, are they there? Are these funds there?
We don't have a vision. When you have a mission, you have to have a vision.
Okay.
And if you have no vision, you can have a mission.
When you have a vision, you have a mission. When you have a mission, you have a vision. When you have a mission to do, you have a vision.
Yes.
Or you get the vision first before you get the mission.
Well, you have to have the vision before.
Okay.
The vision is where I am now, where shall I be in tomorrow.
Where am I going?
So if I'm walking from here and I said I want to take 5 miles from here, so I know the direction I'm going to that 5 miles. So what will be my mission? What will I use to go for that? So you have to have a long-term mission, far away, far-sighted in terms of where you want to be in the long term. Okay, but that is not happening.
It's not happening in Africa,
What's happening is that with this new technology of communication, you will see a lot of youth being empowered by the use of technology. You've been seeing that a lot of information sharing, although some of the information sharing is propaganda and not really quite very good, useful information, but you still can get it. But at the same time, you're seeing that the competition between our, if I take a Somali, like our men and women through the media, is becoming a challenge. So women are becoming more popular. Some women are now becoming more popular through but we have not yet evaluated on where we are and where we want to go. And in terms of gender, we African women have more support than the Western people think.
Yeah, but the reason why I ask this question is that when we look at ourselves here in the UK and in other parts of the Western world, they don't fund researches here on certain issues regarding gender. They already have, the agendas were probably already there, as far as girls were concerned and women were concerned. You can't find a gender-based kind of research being done here in the UK.
We don't look things through the gender. We look things as a community, brother. And I can give you an example. In 2012, there was a severe drought in Somalia.
You did a report on that.
EU or World Bank or UN were given as a flag and say it was a mine while people were dying. So first reactions came from my community. Collectively, it came from my community to provide services, water services in northern part, and also to provide food and water in the southern part. And it all came from every civil society, religious leaders, women, men, youth, who was able to work and contribute. And it was very impressive study. I collaborated in that study done by one of the universities in
Pennsylvania?
in America.
In America,
Yeah, Tufts University. Tufts University did assessment after UN failed,
Yeah.
where we stepped in.
Yeah.
So such a handout, such a program that are given is compromising us.
Yeah.
So this, like in Somalia, selection of a government based on clan base 4.5 is compromising our men.
Yeah, you did that. In fact, it's one of the things that I've noticed.
It makes our men weaker.
Yeah.
And rather than stronger.
Yeah.
Because you cannot have a clan as your whole life to be a light for you to do service for your people.
Okay.
You have to look for others.
Yeah.
You cannot build a glass house in the middle of a ghetto.
No, you can't.
You have to improve others also.
as well. Yeah, those around
exactly.
You. The report that I think it was the World Bank one, where you said the impact of war on Somali men, feminist analysis of masculinity and gender relations in a fragile context. Tell us about that, because it was like the first study in Africa on men, mostly where the cultures are changing, and this time around the feminism is raising above the men in cultural levels.
Yes.
Could this be the future? Something that might affect the clans in Africa, all our clans in Africa in the future, if we let. I mean, I don't want to be referred to as as a masculine man who is against feminism.
No,
yeah, I'm not trying to go there, but I'm trying to see to it that we don't raise the level so high of the women, so that the levels don't go at the same level. So that
listen, in Somalia, already women are there.
Yeah.
Higher percentage of women are working and being a breadwinner.
Yeah.
Over 70% of women are female-headed household.
Yeah.
Okay? And 22% or 27% of men are a men who are providing for their family. If you look at it, the money transfer mostly are women.
Yeah.
If you look at it, home ownership, there is no statistics done thing.
Yeah, about
okay.
That, yeah.
Yes, I also inherited kept my father's property during inheritance, so my brothers took the money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ownership of properties are more becoming prominent for women.
Yeah.
It's not we are not in competition to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, a house built by a woman will be lived by her own family or community.
Yeah.
The same as a thing. So this gender idea or thinking about it in European context should be, I believe, should be removed and allow the society to come up, because we see now women climbing up.
This is the problem. This is the problem, because when they come to funding it. Because when they come to give people to do the funding for it and tell us about it and they fund it, then that's why it keeps coming back to me. What kind of agenda have they got in funding the study of that? It's good to know about it so that we balance the thing. But it might affect our cultures.
For me, it already affected our cultures.
It has already affected.
The war affected cultures.
Yeah.
And foreign intervention already affected our cultures.
Yeah.
Because if I give you Somalia, they will say, okay, it's a peace-torn country, a war-torn country, we want to keep on the peace. For example, European will say we will have one basket for whole Somalia.
Yeah.
Okay, they will contribute one basket to it, but then they will fund another region on agenda because our men are elected based on clan. Clan has a power.
Yeah.
They can take you out or they can put you in. If you are in, you have to do what you're supposed to, what the clan needs. For example, on the issue of gender violence, what we're talking about okay? And the clan wants to deal traditional way. The court systems, we have legislations that we inherited during the colonial, which we have reviewed and made a little bit change.
Yeah.
But we also have Islamic law,
Of course,
and
yeah.
then there is a traditional law.
Yeah.
So the court is functioning 3 system of laws
Instead of one.
instead of one.
Yeah.
So which way will decide it for you?
Yeah.
So if you are a victim of violence, the other client can come and say, we want to take this case out of the court and settle traditional.
Okay. Okay.
And the judge...
Because they know they can win traditionally rather than...
Yes, and Islamic law allows, we call it Islah, it's called... when you have a little arbitration.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they will allow for arbitration to happen first. If arbitration could not happen, then adjudication will happen.
Yeah.
So it's a very difficult for a Westerners to say our input in Africa on women are reaching
the very levels that they want.
The very level they started.
Yeah,
but at least it's bringing us to see that the issue is not the only man, only woman.
Yeah, it's
that
affecting the men as well. Yeah.
Exactly. When you have a children, your children become a teenager.
Yeah.
The first thing in Somalia they will do is migration.
Okay.
Which you hear a lot of them die, in prison.
Trying to cross the Atlantic.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Unemployment is so high.
Yeah.
For our youth, very high.
Yeah.
60 something.
Yeah.
No, 33 something percent.
Yeah.
In elders who came through elder clans are taking all the government decision making. We are in 2004. There's a new era.
Yeah, I know.
So I would like to see youth coming up.
Yeah.
To be in. I was very impressed when Hargeisa in Somaliland elected a mayor, a youth mayor.
Okay.
I was quite happy.
Yeah.
They've
just selected a youth as well in Senegal, one of the youngest presidents in Africa, and he came from prison and is now elected president. It's quite very interesting.
You should be given opportunity.
Yeah.
You should be given opportunity.
Yeah.
Although some the youths had assimilated their elders.
Yeah.
But still the technology is making them aware. We don't need to influence them anymore.
No, we don't. But the thing is, what is probably one of those things that are affecting issues that we fear most is the impact of westernization on Africa and the cultures and the changes that may come because of Western influences. That is why countries like Ghana, Uganda, Nigeria, and so on are trying so hard to hold on to the traditions that we normally have, because with this, as a consultant, you're seeing them funding World Bank project, UN projects. They're funding these issues to discover. Maybe there's the fear factor from African leaders that the influence of Western influence could damage us in future. Do you see this happening?
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Fear of black man have existed a long time ago. If you read the books like 1001 Nights, it's not only the West, the East also fears about the black man.
Yeah. They do. Okay.
So the black man issue is always there wherever it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in reality is when we want to study the impact of foreign intervention.
Yeah.
To our men who are elected by elders.
Yeah.
In that studies, they were not quite happy for that to be highlighted in these studies.
Oh yeah. They didn't want that to be highlighted.
You cannot see anything on foreign intervention.
Okay, they deleted that.
No, they didn't delete that, but we never put it into questionnaire on it.
Why did you put it in there?
Because that's one of the reasons I resigned. Among the reasons I resigned was incomprehensive relation. I participated in that
in the study,
this study partly, but I never complimented. It was not only me. It was a prominent lawyer and a friend of mine from Somaliland. They're called Raqi Haji Duale. She resigned first of me. So, and I resigned after her.
No, but they shouldn't have brought that report out then, because
I said
because if the people who have been the main culprits of
exactly
putting it forward have said no, I've said no to it, then might as well just cross out the report in general.
Okay, when we were doing the research, there was increase of a number of religious leaders. And we call it in Somali the price increase of elders, price increase on religious leaders, price increase on politicians.
That's in other words, price increases. That's bribery. That's bribery.
No, you see one clan that had one leader. Because that leader cannot relate to other people who are in the system of governing. So the governing people will create a new one. From that clan. So that's why we say that a price increase.
You call it a price increase,
Price increase, We couldn't go. This is called si'r barar. Si'r means price. Barar means increase or inflation. So it is that kind of thinking. And then when we look at it, where does this guy get the resources and things like that? And it's all about foreign intervention. And I said, unless we go how our men's character are changing. We have to see the influence of foreigners have in Somalia before we could. So unfortunately, that research didn't pick it up that time, and it's now manifesting. What's currently happening in Somalia?
It's
Somaliland having an agreement with Ethiopia separately. Our president going out to go and take an agreement with Turkey. India, who had no mandate in our country, coming in our ocean and taking away
the fish,
as well as the people who are fishermen, and they will say they are in pilots.
I've read about that.
So there's so many things. So when our men are compromised, my whole country is now compromised by taken by different interest source group. And in that thing we wanted to, for me, that is it was like 7 years ago. I want to highlight it. If we will have bring that research at that time, perhaps our men will have looked at it differently now than when you look at it.
Is there no way you could have released a different report with that highlighting? Say, this is what we found, and release a different report?
No, we focus it on manhood. What manhood? What was the impact of a man or manhood by the war? That was
on the war.
On the war.
The whole report had something to do with the war.
Exactly.
What impact did it have in terms of their masculinity?
Masculinity.
On the war, on their survival and how they're going to live in future, because the war has done, wherever there have been a war, there is always that impact.
Exactly. That's what's happening to our men now. 7 years from now, we as a people, as a community, we see manifestation of what I was trying to put it on and highlight. It was existing at that time. It was already reported in 2012 how our first president, who is the current president, came into power through bribery. Funded by foreigners. And he came back, he's currently president.
Yeah.
And he's going around and making an agreement without consultation with the community or us. We always hear he's flying here, he's flying there. We don't see any of outcomes that we can
from there.
or tangible that we can really see. We don't understand.
Okay.
Same as Somaliland president. He made an agreement with Ethiopia on what? Based on Ethiopian airline.
Yeah.
Ethiopian airline is perishable goods.
Yeah.
Land is not perishable good. You cannot substitute for that. If you want to substitute, do something that is concrete, that will benefit your own people and your own community from the get-go.
Yeah.
But it's just like they become so cheap. I don't want to call them bitches, but they're acting like, our men are acting like a bitches, going around one country to another country, making agreement here. Is a presidential prostitution. Oh, that's what I will call them.
Gosh, that's quite a description. Now,
get real.
Yeah.
And there are some women who are following the footsteps of the men.
Okay.
I say, step back.
Financial
For our basic things, we need the basic things in Somalia.
I know.
Accessibility to public services.
Yeah. Financial consultation by the World Bank and European Union. You know, these organizations don't stop to amaze me in the kind of funding that they do. And the reports that have, of course, come in, that to a certain extent, I think Ivory Coast and I think Ghana, and they didn't allow certain studies to take place there because they had already have their PhD students going around doing some of that study, which has not been accepted by the UN and the World Bank. And then there is the study, which they fund. If it doesn't come in their interest, then they look at it differently. I think you have already highlighted that.
Yes, because, they already made like from East Africa. We have an institution called Rift Valley institutions, operated by Europeans, you know, producing a quite good stuff, I will say.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, we are absent from decision making and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, and this study of men was also through that institution.
Okay, the Rift Valley one, yeah.
Exactly. So people are coming for us for jobs.
Yeah.
People are coming us for the land. Yeah. And now you see in Africa is the least developed. I like to keep it like that because it's natural.
Yeah. Okay, so of course, yeah. Because
it's very natural.
Once they bring in,
I don't want concrete houses. I like my hut. I don't want paved roads because I don't have a sewage.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at it now, the property values in Mogadishu is higher than sometimes properties in the US.
Why?
And my daughter says, Mom, how can your property with the city with no sewage can be more expensive than
the West?
The one the house I bought in Minnesota.
The thing is, the financial issue has always been a major issue to us.
Yes.
As not just African, to us the Africans, in a sense that if a research is funded, we don't question why it's being funded. We don't question that. And when they send you out there to do the research on certain, you know, and then you find the switch out, if they find it's not in their interest, they won't even release it.
No, also it's not. It's partly as we have to take responsibility. We can't simply finger point others. Also, that's why I was calling our men are compromised. Okay. The same way is our institutions. When I come and say I'm going to do such a thing for you, you have to review what exactly it is. You have to also guide and also assist the program and say, okay, perhaps you need to do this. This is our issue, and this and it's totally different now. What's happening in Africa? Before the presidents before, like for Siad Barre in Somalia. He will have a set of programs, and then he will call the UN and he will say, who's going to fund what? For me.
Exactly,
the table has turned around. And now, what is our mandate is not their mandate.
No, it's not.
What's our priority is not their priority. and they will bring their priority and say, I want you to do A, B, and C, D.
Before I do this and that.
Yeah.
Then before I give you the money, you have to do
Okay,
ABC.
we had a loan.
Yeah.
Okay, they said before we forgive the loan, you have to be able to increase the revenue of the state.
The local revenue, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The whole thing that was given was increase of revenue. Okay, but what did they do through it is just mind-boggling. Because they're creating jobs associated with the president's office, by prime minister's office, the bank, the minister of finance. So they are overseeing you.
Yeah.
They paying these people, but they say that Somalis, they work for you to empower. Of course, you can empower, you can hire, but they are there watch to make sure that what they want is implemented. It's implemented and easily coming down. And through that's why I took the last job I had it was in 2018. And I was assessing in Puntland on gender-based violence through World Bank funded program. Because they have a no harm in policy, but also zero tolerance on gender violence.
Okay.
So a lot of things are happening. So when there is positions headed by a man, because elders bring, he will tell the girls who is recruited, come to hotel so and so.
Right,
I see you. You know, cheap things that when we were young, they're trying to do the same thing with this younger generation. I said stop.
It doesn't
stop.
Work.
It's a time.
It won't work properly.
Exactly.
Exactly. Now, publications, you've done a very good publication, Somali Untold Story, the war through the eyes of the Somali women, and rape as a weapon of war. These were very good kind of work that you worked on, which can also be found in various areas in Africa. Issues that are very, very difficult to tackle. How did you tackle that, especially rape as a war of weapon, and then the issue of the untold story in Somalia?
I had, as I said, two of my colleagues, one passed away, Judy Al-Bushra and Judith Gardner. They were the one who, Judith Gardner especially supported me. I was working for UNHCR at that time. And what happened was that the incidents of rape was happening in Europe, Bosnia, towards the Muslim women. And they didn't know what to do. And then in 1991, early 1991, the civil war in Somalia happened, and they were hearing similar stories among us. So I was recruited to assess the situation. At the end of the assessment, I was able to make a program. And through that program, we were able to curb or reduce a little bit. And I was expecting it to go deeper, but it's not.
It didn't go deep enough the way you wanted it to go.
No, it didn't go. But what was good outcome was that the pillars that I was working in that program, like provision of health, provision of legal assistance, provision of counseling, provision of economic empowerment of women. Okay, all that aspect is still now adapted.
They haven't adapted it.
It's been adapted by worldwide.
Okay.
Because what I was working at that time, UNHCR. What UNHCR did was they create a policy, guidelines. Because some of the UN staff, some of the in police. Or military who are also around the camps or also providing a protection support were committing these crimes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So South Sudan, some of the policies that, some of the issues that you wrote about and should have been implemented in South Sudan and also in certain areas of West Africa after the coups had taken place. Some areas where the UN has been
Yeah.
Even in Myanmar, is it
Myanmar?
Yeah,
Yeah, Myanmar.
There was a lot of that, and the highlighting was there. But the
It's
funding
happening now in Gaza.
in Gaza, in Gaza. Well, they haven't really gone deeper as far as Gaza is concerned.
It doesn't matter
Yeah, yeah.
where there is war and military.
Yeah.
Well,
the
rape
Yeah.
is a tool of a power
Yeah.
to dehumanize,
Yeah. Yeah.
to disempower women.
Yeah. Now, when I look at these reports, I sometimes wonder where is the African Union when it comes to this. These are part of the funds. These are part of the things which African Union would be embracing, and we are seeing the UN. We are seeing the European Union.
They embrace.
Embracing. But the African Union, have they embraced? Have they come to
Oh,
you
yeah.
people? And
Oh, yeah.
They have. They have.
All policies adapted
Yeah.
is the way it's implemented, how it's implemented, and what is the outcome.
Okay,
What do you
okay.
achieve?
Yeah.
African Union has a policy.
Yeah.
When I was there and doing assessment, I went through their military camp in Somalia.
Okay.
Mostly Ugandans and,
Yeah.
and other Africans. There was a young girl they recruited.
We're in Somalia.
We're in
Yeah.
Somalia.
Yeah.
But it's not about that. It's
Yeah.
all about prior, if you wouldn't bring soldiers to another country, or if you train in soldiers, that it has to be on their curriculum
Okay. Okay.
from the
okay.
get-go.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
The question of funds comes in when it comes to Africa. The question of where the money is going to come from. Now, we are seeing the Ugandan troops are there in Somalia, but the money is still funded by the Americans.
Yes.
Now, the funding structure,
Yeah.
that is why they fund most of these projects for you to
They-
go. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at where does Africa come in? Where does Africa itself comes in to fund these projects? Because
It's all about talk and seminars. Okay?
Okay.
African Union,
Yeah.
to empower our women,
Yeah.
they will take to Uganda,
Yeah.
which has a high number of female parliamentary.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So they will make a trip to Uganda and see what is going on
Or
in
even
the
Rwanda,
yeah.
for example, yeah.
And then young generations are sent South Africa, Uganda, Kenya for training here and there to
Yeah.
do things like that.
Yeah.
But it all depends on. I went through the what do you call it? Criminal Investigation Department of Mogadishu,
Okay.
and then there are women trained to deal with gender-based violence.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So when you got there, you won't find them.
Oh, you won't find them.
You won't find them
Yeah.
because the men will tell them, "Go away, stay, take your salary, be
Yeah.
with your family."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in order when the cases come,
That's when they call them.
they don't call them. They negotiate with the elders, and everything becomes elderly men negotiating with men. Okay.
Yeah.
And I said, where are the women? They said they don't need it.
They're not supposed to be here for this.
No.
Yeah.
They take their leave,
Yeah.
and knowingly, the government knowingly,
Yeah. Yeah.
they are at their home, they receive their salaries, but the men are working because they don't want it
Also,
to end.
okay.
Let me tell you, traditional elders prefer incidents to happen rather than not to happen.
Okay. Okay. So.
Because they make money.
Oh, they-
We women are secondary insurer for our community. Primary insurers are what we call it blood making bodies.
Yeah.
And it's all male.
It's
So,
jobs for the men.
but really can. So for us, we are secondary insurers.
Yeah.
When anything happened to us, we have to refer to our men.
Yeah.
Our men will go for our negotiations.
But the
So
empowerment, the empowerment at the moment,
Yeah.
the empowerment of what one of your studies was saying was that education levels of men with women and men working together and bringing up the educational levels of men.
Exactly.
This will make a big change to the way women are treated by men. So that was one of the recommendations you did.
Yes.
And is it being implemented at all?
I'm not quite sure how far it went, but still there is segregation.
Okay.
There is the youth parties, there are youth organizations, there are women organizations. I like to see the community as a whole want some and work together.
Okay.
Because we are not separated. So why it's a divide and rule. So
okay.
it's a mind occupation. It's not.
It's a mindset. But one other thing that I look at is that we tend to forget. Okay, we put in the elderly to a certain level, but then the training of the next generation of youth has to involve the parents, where the parent structure comes in, where parents are part of the training programs as well, because they are raising their children. I don't know whether, but the UN has never funded such a project.
No, parental education was never funded.
Yeah.
In our society, Africa, we have a high, in what do you call it, high caste, low caste, minority, majority, all that things. And in this situation is like, if the woman is from minority, even the mother will not condone actions that her youth
has done.
It's sad.
It's because it hasn't been properly
picked it up at the household level.
At the household level.
And when I interview with the youth, they said, "Oh, we're following our men."
Okay. Oh, really?
Yes. Because they're hearing these stories of what happened during the earlier years of the Civil War.
Okay, we are coming towards the end of the program. Now, religion has been a major issue when we talk of Somalia. We also talk of bits of Nigeria now, and where the religion is a major. How do you see, because in your reports, you didn't really mention much about religion. You mentioned the cultures and some other things, but religion is a major issue affecting most of the African communities. How do you see the future of that? Is there possibility things might change?
It's already happened, a change.
It's already changing.
It's already changing.
Yeah.
Because when you become, you come from civil war time and your people become diaspora in different regions.
Yeah.
We are people who are learning from, in Pakistan we are people who are learning from Egypt, we are people who are learning from, in here we are people who are learning locally.
Yeah.
So everybody brings their experience. And then you will see that's happening in our mosques now in Mogadishu. A quite change than what I used to hear before. For example, the call for prayers, I used to hear the 5 times a day.
Yeah, it's no longer
okay, which is okay. But now recitation of the prayers, it was something I was young, I never heard it. Now you can hear. Imagine you live in close to a 3 mosque. And you are at home, and women are preferred to be at home to pray it, and you are going to pray, and then you hear a sound from this mosque and sound from recitation from this mosque and sound. So as I said before, our religion, I can't talk much about it because it's people say it's been Islamicist. Okay, there are certain aspects that I love about the implementation of Islamic law.
Okay.
That will bring justice for women.
And some aspects that you don't
women prosper, where and also decay, and they also prosper, where the Islamicists in Somalia hold. If she inherits from her father, the Islamicists are able to give her share. They will fight for her rights for her. But when it comes to other social aspect of it,
no, they don't.
They don't about it.
Okay. I think we'll take it from there next time. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and
thank you very much. I appreciate you
for coming here and telling us all about it. It's always good to hear, especially with the reports that you did, and I want to encourage you to keep doing that, because it's helping other women also express themselves in so many other ways, politically, socially, and all the other ways in which we know in Africa. Thank you very much. I just want to thank you all for being us in today's program of Africa Speaks. And I hope we'll be together again for another edition of Africa Speaks next week. Thank you, and may God bless you.
Thank you very much, and I hope that our new president in Tanzania, Liberia, Zambia, wherever who's coming, African women keep growing, and our youth and elders support us, because they are us and we are us. We are them.
Yeah,
we are not separate.
They call it Ubuntu.
Ubuntu.
You and I. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.